So usually I don't do questions. We're probably going to do more questions more often just because I'm liking some of the questions we're getting. But I got one over the weekend. Somebody forwarded me one of the things Gary Brecka said. And apparently now we all get to understand what Gary Brecka got education-wise from Grant Cardone. So the new push that Mr. Brecka's making, that you should buy his stuff because whey protein, 82% of whey protein turns into sugar, is 100% a lie. Proteins do not turn into sugars. Your body can take them and make them into sugar through a long chemical process called gluconeogenesis, but proteins break down into amino acids. Proteins have 0 carbohydrates in them. They have 0 sugars in them. So for 82% of whey protein to turn into sugar would make it one of the highest glycemic carbohydrates you could ever find. It's 100% a lie. If you're taking whey, you're fine. All the research on whey shows that it has massive a function of actually losing fat, not gaining fat. And his assertion and what he said was that because 82% of whey protein turns into sugar, it's going to make you fat. Again, that's a lie to sell his product. It's very similar. It reminds me of the Food Babe when she came out and lied and told everybody that erythritol was very bad for your heart. Erythritol is extremely cardioprotective. It's one of the best things you can give your body for your heart and cardiovascular system. She was just trying to use whatever she could to sell her product. The problem I have with this is that, people are like, well, people lie all the time to sell their stuff. Yeah, but here's the problem. You can't trust Gary Brecka about anything he says now. And now we have to go back and look at everything he has said and be like, okay, how many of these things are tied to products? Like, for instance, he said that hydrogen water from his little hydrogen water bottles is the #1 best thing you can do for your body, which is also not true. Oxygen is the #1 thing you can do. Hyperbaric oxygen would be the #1 thing from a free radical standpoint and from a health standpoint. But selling $70 bottle, hydrogen plastic water bottles is a little easier than selling $10,000, $25,000, or $50,000 hyperbaric chambers. So, yeah, so that's the issue. So now we got to go back and be like, okay, how many of the things have you said that are tied to your programs or to your products you're selling or whatever else? Because now we can't trust anything you say. And the issue with that is that he said some things that are accurate. And so now when somebody else comes out and says this, they're like, oh, yeah, Gary Brecka said that. He was just trying to sell something, because whatever. I mean, but if you're willing to gaslight and lie to people and tell them that 82% of the proteins that are in whey are going to turn into sugars and make you fat, man, that's pretty hardcore. That's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how you make that statement, put it out, and then be like, yeah, I'm going to stand. Yeah, people won't figure that one out. The reason that people use whey and pea protein is because whey breaks down into amino acids, and one of the amino acids it breaks down into the most is leucine. Leucine is the amino acid that is most responsible for initiating or being part of muscle protein synthesis. So it's not the only thing you need. Leucine is not the only thing you need, but that's one of those big things. So, which is why I've been telling people for a long time to take collagen and branched chain amino acids, because the collagen is going to give you all the amino acids you need, and the branched chains, the high dose of leucine can actually start generation of muscle protein synthesis. So that's the way. If you're trying to build muscle, you can stick with your whey. Don't worry, you're not going to get fat. The reason that you're getting fat is it has nothing to do with your whey. It's something else. But yeah, feel free to take your whey. Feel free to take your proteins. No protein is going to turn into sugars and turn into fat. It's a lie. Erythritol is phenomenal for you. I try to get all of my patients who have arterial sclerosis or Raynaud's blood vessel issues to take erythritol, because it dilates small blood vessels and it loosens hardened arteries. Wildly cardioprotective, extremely important for your heart and cardiovascular system. Sorry, Food Babe, I guess you're just not going to make any money off of your protein. So those are two of the things. Now, you can be wrong. I'm not saying that, if you come out and make a statement, then you're wrong later. But to come out and say something that's so wildly outside of the norms, it's impossible to find research disproving this, because proteins don't break down into sugars that would make them carbohydrates. And 82% of the protein turning into sugar, bonkers. No, not a chance. So, again, it's unfortunate, but apparently, if there's anything tied to financial gain, you got to really, really careful about what Brecka says, because apparently that's his motive, not health. Not trying to get you guys the information. So that's unfortunate. But if you guys are looking for that, proteins always break down to amino acids. The problem is you have to break them down with protease. So if you're going to consume a giant amount of protein, but you don't have enough digested enzymes to break them down, we're going to have issues there. It's not going to turn to sugar. It's not going to turn to fat. It's just not going to be digested. And so you're not going to get the protein or the amino acids you're actually looking for out of the proteins you're consuming. However, protein does make you full because it's a thing in your stomach. Just like if you're a little hungry, like you've eaten your allotment for the day, you're trying to cut some fat, drink a lot of water, because the water fills up your stomach and your stomach goes, oh no, we're good, satiety's reached. So protein does a really good job of filling that void and making you feel full, with then not breaking down into anything that's going to create fat or create problems on your body like that. So, but that's one of those big things that we've got to go back to our chemistry. This is the same thing I talk about with the calories in, calories out trash, is that if you're going to sit there and you're going to tell me that proteins and carbohydrates work equally in the body, then you're lying for whatever reason. And we need to figure out what it is. Now, you could be incompetent. That's the thing. There's a lot of people out there who don't understand that proteins and carbohydrates are different. And so they're not lying. But people who understand chemistry are. Now, whether they're just too lazy to redesign all their meal plans they got from this person and that person they found on Muscle Fitness and all these type of things, to say this giant list things, just like, oh, here's a meal plan. Here's a meal plan. I'm selling you meal plans. All right, they got to redo those, but that's the thing. So when we see people who are struggling and they're doing the things that the people on social media, they're doing the people that they're supposed to be respecting, they're watching these people and they're doing what they're telling them to, that's the issue we're getting into, is that we've got to make sure that what we're telling people is accurate, regardless of how much money we're going to make off of it. Because, at the end of the day, are you trying to make a bunch of money? Is your goal to make a bunch of money, or is your goal to improve the health and wellness of the people around you? Apparently we know now that Brecka's main goal is to make money, not to help people's health and wellness. And that's unfortunate. But that's why we're doing it. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm giving you this information. And go ahead and look it up. Try to research it. Don't believe anything people tell you. Like, look it up for yourself. Look up how much. Look up if you can find the chemistry where whey protein, 82% of that protein becomes a sugar. First, I'd like to know what sugar it becomes, because that's going to affect obviously glycemic function. But yeah, try to find that, because proteins do not break down into sugars. That's would make them carbohydrates. But yeah, so you guys keep the questions coming, keep the comments up. We'll take a look at these things. We'll get back to you. So we're about to come out with the list of stuff that we have. I'm putting the research behind wherever we can. Some of the supplements that I'm taking, and this is just the supplements that I'm taking. People have asked me what I'm taking, so I'm putting that up. We're going to drop in the research of why I'm taking what I'm taking. The blends, some of the blends where it's a bunch of different herbs that are coming together for a specific purpose, those are more difficult to bring up research on, to say, oh, see, this blend did these things, because unless you pay for the study for this specific blend, you're not going to get the research. So some of those things we'll go through and be like, hey, it has these 4 or 5 things in it. Here's some research on those 4 or 5 things. But I'm trying to post the research so people know why I'm saying what I'm saying. So if you guys like to read research, in about a week or two, it'll be on pillarsofwellness.com. We're also starting to add, and we should start putting these up soon, maybe a week, some of the reviews on some of the keto foods we've tried, some of the low glycemic stuff we've done. And then people have been asking me, patients, whatnot, have been asking me how it is that we make all the foods I eat, the key lime pie, the pecan pie, and the cheesecakes, and the fudge, and all the things that we make, the pizzas, and all the things that we make that I eat that don't have any glycemic effect and are helping me cut all the fat off my body. So we're going to start putting those videos up. We're working on getting them all edited and put together right now. So we'll put those up, and then you guys can learn how to make some of this stuff. It's really, really good. Like, It's so good. It was funny because so we made 2 key lime pies back to back because Lou was making the videos on them and she messed up a video, so she had to do it again, which is by no means the worst thing in the world. Having extra key lime pie for me, not a problem. And so I ate both of them, and then today she was like, "I gotta redo this video and blah blah blah," and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "You gonna redo that key lime pie video today? Because we're almost out of key lime pie. And that would be tragic." So I get more key lime pie today. That's the whole thrust of that story. I'm super excited about it because it's so good. But we'll put those videos up. You guys will learn how to make them. There's a lot of things that like the how to make condensed milk for keto. She's made that video and it's in a lot of things. So it should be pretty helpful. All those videos will be at pillarsofwellness.com. So go check that out and we'll get everything going like that. Thanks for your time. Talk to you guys later.